Hey everybody, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. It's good to be back. I know it's been a while since I streamed. Maybe last Wednesday might have been the last stream. So a lot has happened since then. The first thing I like to do is just catch you up on all the changes in the site, and then we'll move into the routing. So just to let you know, I've currently broken a lot of stuff on the site. I have not committed the broken stuff, obviously, but we're going to jump right into me being in the middle of setting this up. So I'm going to explain how I got to this point, but just wanted to give you all a warning. So since last week, or at some point at the end of last week, I gave another presentation about this site. Got great feedback from that as well. Everybody was pretty happy. Not really a lot of big changes needed to happen. So the site still pretty much looks the same. If you really want to know about any little details that may have been updated, you can always check out the GitHub repo. Try to have descriptive commit messages when I can, but the updates have been pretty minimal at this point. I've been doing a lot of stuff with just getting links to go where they're supposed to go, and I've been working with the routing. So not a lot that would actually change the look of the site. But I like, when I present to a different group, I like to try to get the links that that group would be interested in working. Otherwise, I did an interview for a full stack engineer position, and I actually made a video on just like a recap of my interview and some advice that I have. So that's on my channel. So link's in the description if you want to check that out. It's available. That just went live. It took a while to upload and process, so it actually just went live a few minutes ago. And I think that's it for my recap. I thought there was going to be more than that. All right, so let me switch over. Let me switch over to my other screen so you all can see what's going on. Also, for everybody who's new here, this stream is just me going through my daily job as a front-end developer. I'm employed full-time at a small university, and although today we're going to be working on some back-end stuff, occasionally we go full stack here, but primarily front-end. So today, the way this is going to work is I'm going to set a timer for 25 minutes, and we're going to code for 25 minutes. Then I'm going to take 5 minutes. I'm going to look at the live chat, answer any questions that you have, and we'll probably repeat that twice. Then at the end, I'll answer any questions that are left in the live chat. So if you have questions, go ahead and put them in there and just kind of be patient until I can get to them. Also, this is very interactive. So if you see that I'm doing something and you have no idea what I'm doing, ask a question. Or if you have a better idea, put it in the live chat. I frequently end up changing my plans because someone in the live chat has something better. So feel free to join in. And there are a lot of people in the live chat that are more experienced than I am. So if you ask a question, you may get an answer from one of them that's pretty awesome. All right, so let me set the timer. I'll put it on here on this screen so everyone can see when we go back here. So I'm going to set that 25-minute timer, and I'm also going to set this ngrok server. Now I did let everyone know at the beginning, so if you didn't catch it, the site is currently in a semi-broken state because I'm messing with some ideas that I had for the router, and that it has basically it worked to solve the problem that I was trying to solve, but it caused a bunch of other problems when I did it. So now I'm at the point of like, how do I make this work in a way that doesn't break other stuff? So I'm going to paste a URL right now into the live chat, and if you go to that URL, you'll be able to see the site as I'm working on it. And just in case you can't go to that URL right now, I will show you what's going on with that site here. And this is what we have. So you'll notice it's going to be hard to see, but the URL right now is localhost/academics/UG/majors. Okay, we haven't had any URLs like that so far, where we had like three things at the end of the URL. The most we've been able to deal with is 2. So that's why I had to mess with the router to try to get this to work. But you can see, since I did that, our style sheets aren't coming through and our logos aren't coming through. So basically everything we're trying to bring in from that static folder is not working. So at least we're at a point where we know a lot about the problem, right? So that's a good starting point. So let me go over and show you in the code what's happening. So we'll be focusing mostly on this area here, and just to make some more space, let's get rid of that sidebar. We'll shrink this up as well. And so this is what I've done. I've taken this universal route, and let me know if this is too small and you can't see what's going on. Also, hey everyone, I forgot to say hi. Everybody's saying hi in the chat, so say hello. The ninja says, "Sup, Jesse Pinkman." That's a reference to Breaking Bad. If you've never seen the show, that's why I was definitely not in the show, but there is a character named Jesse. So I took this universal route, which right now just grabs the type and the ID. So in our example here, the type in the ID would be academics and then UG, but then what happens with this majors over here? So what I did was I copied and pasted this entire thing, and I put in type, subtype, and ID. So now we're getting all 3 parts of that URL. And then I went in and I changed. Did I change? Oh, no, what I changed it back. I did change some things in here, and then I realized that I didn't have to change that much, so I undid it. So basically, I copied and pasted that, and then now what happens is when I go to, let's see what page I was trying to get to. Okay, when it picks up that the type is academics, it tries to send the data to the page component, which is what we wanted. And I'm still only sending the type and the ID. So I just completely skipped the subtype here, which for this use case works. Going forward, we may run into a situation where that no longer works, and we'll have to figure out something better. But for right now, this works. And it just goes through and it does exactly what this other one had done, which is simply pass the type and the ID into the component. From the component, we make a call using Apollo and GraphQL to WordPress, which we have the WP GraphQL plugin installed there. And then WordPress sends the data back through the WP GraphQL plugin, and then React can render the page, and then that page gets sent to the browser, to the user's browser. So all that's still working. The problem is somewhere along the line, and we can see it here in the terminal. Hopefully it's still up here. So what's happening is, wow, okay, there's so much stuff. Let's see if we can get it. Okay, so we have, this is a good example. So anytime we're getting a static file, it reads it as static, image, and then ID, because our routes here in our file, so we have the static file and then image. So everything within our static file is 2 levels deep. So that gives us a URL with those 3 parts. So I guess what's happening is it's trying to take those and treat them as, you know, our usual route. So I have an idea, and let's see if we can, if this will work. If this idea works, then this is going to be like a very special stream that my idea for the fix actually works. So what I'm going to try to do is just wrap everything in an if statement. So let's say if type, so this will be rec params type equals static is not equal, and I'm silly because I already have that if statement right here. Alright, so there we go. So Niki's actually the one that created a lot of this. So I've done very minimal editing to his original routing function. And I forgot an and. So he had already come across some of these issues before and put in this if statement. So because there were some other things that were doing this. So now we're just going to add that if statement and say if the type is equals static. We're not going to go through this. Let's see if it does any. Let's see if it works. Oh, you know what? Niki's apologizing for the spaghettiness of the code. Don't even worry about it. This code is awesome. This definitely did what it was supposed to do, and you know, we've just come across some extra use cases that we didn't even realize at first. So we're just gonna have to keep adding on to it, I think, to handle this. Haha, yes. Okay, cool. So that worked. Now I'm going to try to go to another page and see if it broke our other pages. So first the home page. Excellent. Home page seems to be working. And now let's go to, I think this works. Yay, this works. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Very cool. Alright, cool. So that part of the routing worked. Now I'm sure this can be refactored somehow because we have a lot that we're just reproducing here. So I don't know that I'm gonna be refactoring this right now during the stream, but just so you know, I really would rather not leave it like this. It adds quite a bit of length. But for now, this is working. So before I had to do this, what I was working on was trying to edit our object here that allows us to put in a lot of different routes and get some more of these pages working. So if you haven't joined us for some of the previous streams, you might not know what we're trying to do here, but we're taking an old site and we're completely redoing it. So the entire backend, the database, our content management system, front end, everything totally redone. But what we need to do is try to keep the URLs the same, because this site's been around for a long time. It's built up a lot of links, some external links pointing back to the site. So we need to keep those intact. And in fact, one of the things that the vice president of admissions here at the university asked about, and he was very positive about the site, but one of the things he asked about was, is this going to break any of the links? So he was very pleased to hear that we're doing everything we can to make sure it doesn't break the links. But that's definitely a concern, and that's a legitimate concern. You know, there's a lot of materials that have links to different parts of the site. So emails that go out and printed brochures and things like that, those can't all be changed just because we got a new site. You know, they can't be changed right away. That costs a lot of money and takes time. And you can't exactly recall what's already out there if it's already been given to people. Okay, so let's go to the last thing I was working on, and this was this academics link. So here's what I was. Let me just walk you through the last few steps I did so we're all on the same page. And I just realized my Spotify has not been going for, I think, since I started. My playlist just ended. And, all right, let's put on something else. All right, I'm going to let you decide what I'm going to listen to. So I have some old school 90s rap. I have some like dubstep, and I have some old school 90s rock music. Put in the live chat right now what you think I should listen to. 90s rap, 90s rock, or dubstep. And I'll check back in the live chat in just a couple seconds. Whoa, looks like rock. All right, cool. This seems pretty. Oh, we do have a dubstep. We have rock. All right, so we have some other things in there, but it looks like 90s rock, definitely one. James asks if 90s rap includes Tupac. It does. It most certainly includes Tupac, but I think rock won out. So I'm starting it up now. And looks like this is one of those playlists that Spotify just makes for you. So it looks like I have Pearl Jam, Sublime, REM, Nirvana, Red Hot Chili Peppers. So it looks like a decent playlist so far. Cool. All right. So here's what I was doing. I was trying to get this route for the majors. So it's been a long time since we even looked at the routing, but basically to get to a page that displays information about a particular major for like a prospective student who wants to check out our what we offer here, you just type in the URL. So in this case, it'd be localhost / and then like economics or accounting or whatever major we have, which is a little bit weird that it's not. It would make more sense if it was like localhost / major / whatever it is. So it made it a little bit difficult. So what needs to happen is we need to add routes for every single one of these. So for some reason I could not get these routes to work, and I worked on it for longer than I want to admit this morning, and realized that I simply did not have any piece of content that had the slug of economics that I could grab from WordPress. That was probably my problem all along, and what I had, which was basically this, probably worked. Right away, it would have worked. So anyway, so that's what I was going through here, but then I also have a page to display all the majors. Unfortunately, when I brought the data over, that was in an entirely different category. So it's like under academics. So that's what got me onto this academic section, and then eventually got me onto whatever that page was that we were just on. So let me go back. There we go. Academics, undergraduate, majors. So now That's why I even had to mess with this page. I don't like this URL, but for now, like, we have to keep it active. So what I should be able to do now, since I have, well, let's go to economics since I know that data is correct. I should be able to go to economics from here, and the link was supposed to work. Cannot query field economics pages. It shouldn't be querying the field economics pages. It should be majors, unless it's case sensitive. I don't know why it would be, but I guess we could try it. It might be case sensitive. No, it's not. Yep, I think it's case sensitive. ECONOMICA. All right, so we're gonna have to fix that in our routing. So it seems like some of the links that we've just brought over from the old database have capital letters in them, and all of our links here we're checking for lowercase. So let's find, I want to try to figure out where we can do this so we only have to do it once or maybe twice. So let's take it out. Reg parens. Maybe I'll just make another. Let's make another, like a variable here. I think that'll be the best. Oh, you know what? I can't just set type here. So what I wanted to do was set let type equals null. Type. Let me check the live chat quickly here. Let's see. Niki says at the end where the options object is constructed, you can lowercase there. Thank you. Oh, awesome. I knew there had to be something. Type, so we can go to lowercase. To lowercase. And I'll also need to do it down here since I now have double. And for the ID, you know what? Maybe we ought to do it for the ID as well. I haven't come across a case where that'd be an issue, but it doesn't take long to put in another to lowercase. Alright, so I'm going to save that. And then we're going to give it another try here. ECO-NOMICS. What is the difference here? Well, this is silly. I mean, I shouldn't have to manually restart the server, but maybe I'll try. So let me hit save. Let's see, Nikki says that entire object can go and be inlined into rendering cache, by the way. That's for when it gets refactored. Okay, cool. Thank you, Nikki. Alright, let's see what we're getting. So I'm just shutting down the server, bringing it back up, seeing if we have type major economics. Oh, that's just silly. Okay, so all right, I'm gonna do this just to test it out and make sure that I'm actually worrying about the right thing. So I'm gonna make economics like this, so we'll also have the uppercase version, and it should work if that's really the issue. Okay, yeah, that is the issue. So it seems like R2 lowercase down there is too late. Okay, I'm gonna check my timer. All right, about 2 minutes. So in about 2 minutes, I'm gonna go back to the live chat. So if you put any questions in there, just hang on for a few more minutes, and I'll get to those. Okay, so down here, when I'm changing it to lowercase, that's too early because it's trying to look things up in this translation object here, and it's trying to look up economics with a capital E, and it doesn't exist. So we need to move that to lowercase up higher. This seems like something. This really seems like something that later on could be done at the level of Nginx, which we're going to use as our reverse proxy on the server. I'm assuming that we could do something in Nginx that would take everything in the URL and make it lowercase before it even gets to this point. But I would like this to be functional for the demos coming up. The more the site that is functional, the better it will seem to the people I'm presenting it to. So we can think of something. It doesn't have to be a spectacular solution because ultimately it'll probably be temporary until we get this on a real server. So that's what we'll do when I come back from this break. So let me go back over here. I have about 15 seconds left, so I'm just going to start this break right now and go over to the live chat. And I'm going to start way up at the top. So if you asked a question just a minute or two ago, I may not get to it in this 5 minutes, but I'll do my best. Alright, so I have a question from, I'm going to have to use Google Translate on this because this is not in my normal alphabet. So let me get Google Translate going on my other screen. Bodon. So Bodon asks, can I incorporate Vue or React into one of my simple HTML pages with further upload to basic hosting without changing the web hosting plan? I think you can. I think there's a way to use React. I don't know very much at all about Vue, so I really can't answer that. But in terms of React, I think there's a way that you can bring in React to your project, just like with a script tag. I've never done it though, but I kind of remember when I was going through like the tutorial phase of React, like the beginner tutorials, that there was a way you could do it. So if anybody has any experience with that, please let Bodan know. And I can't remember exactly. I suppose the official React documentation would probably have something in there about it, so I would check there. Abhishek says, was that the one you're going for in the last coding session? I assume you're talking about the interview thing? Yeah. So I think the last time that I talked to you all in a live stream, I was talking about going on that interview. Sorry. Yeah, so that was the interview. So I'm not going to say a lot about it in the stream because I just did that video. So if anybody, I'm sure a lot of people in the stream don't care how the interview went. So I'm going to save that. And then if you do care, check out the video and you can ask me any questions you want about it as well. I'll answer those. But Michael says, congrats on the interview. Thanks, I appreciate it. Alexi says, wow, everything is looking really nice. Yeah, the site is actually looking, pretty nice. Maybe I'll go through and just kind of scroll through some of the stuff that's working. I can't remember how much I had done the last time we streamed. I know I had done some things like before a presentation to kind of make it look nicer. And I'm not sure if I showed you all that. Let's see, Bojanche. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Let me know how I'm supposed to pronounce it. But it says, why so much hard-coded stuff? In the router, a lot's hard-coded. Really, it's because I have to keep these routes from the old site, and so far, this is the best way that I've been able to come up with. That we've, it's not just me. We've other people have been helping out with it, especially Niki. But it's kind of the best way we've come up with to try to keep those routes. So we can't really use the default routing system that comes with Next.js because we need to try to keep these routes working from the old site. And if you're referring to some of the other interior pages, why there's hard-coded stuff, for right now things are hard-coded just because I needed to get them in for presentations. But at some point there will be very, very little hard-coded, and nearly all the data will be pulled from elsewhere. All right, John Hansen says, have you heard of GitHub? Probably Markdown to JSX. Bring over the marked up data from WordPress. You can override markup to a consistent style, and I believe it won't be dangerously set inner HTML. Oh, okay. Interesting. All right, well, maybe we'll have to check that out. I'm not... Yeah, right now I'm not worried about using dangerously set inner HTML because I'm pretty much aware of what's in the data. But yeah, at some point that might not be a bad idea to get away from it. Sorry, I'm yawning so much. I wasn't feeling well yesterday, and I think I'm still not 100%. I'm just kind of sluggish and tired. I didn't have any coffee this morning, I'm gonna mark down where I'm at in the live chat, and the timer's up, so I'm gonna go back to coding now, and then I'll come right back to where I left off and get through the rest of the questions. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna take a couple seconds here and tell you why I didn't get coffee this morning, and I'm gonna sound like one of the laziest people, I'm sure, but in the morning usually I drop off my kids at school around like 8 a.m. So I did that this morning. If I'm being honest, it was like 10 after 8. I was a little late this morning, but so I dropped them off about 10 minutes after 8 a.m. and then I have to drive by a McDonald's to get to where I work. And I downloaded this new McDonald's app where you can just put your order in the app and then sit in the parking lot and somebody will bring it right out to you, right? Which is which is really cool, especially like the weather's been really cold lately, so it's nice to not have to go walk through like a slushy, icy parking lot, you know, in my dress shoes, right? And I know I could just go through the drive-through, but this is even better. I can just sit there, right? And I'm just saying this, I sound super lazy. But anyway, the app wasn't working today. So instead of just going through the drive-thru like a normal person, I thought, well, you know, forget this. I'm not going. If I can't use the app and just sit in my car, I'm not going. So I didn't. So I didn't go. I didn't get any coffee this morning. It's like, so like all day I've been wanting coffee, and I just haven't had coffee because I was too lazy to actually just sit in my car and drive through a drive-thru. Anyway, I sound so terrible now that I said that out loud. But if you haven't used that app, the app is actually pretty nice. It takes all the pressure off. Like when you go through the drive-thru, it's like you don't want to take too long for your order because people are waiting. In the same way, if you're in the store, like you're in a line, but if you're just sitting in the parking lot on your app, like you could take all the time in the world to figure out what you really want. I check on my coupons to get. Anyway, enough about McDonald's. But the coffee's not too bad, and it's pretty cheap, so that's why I just stop there sometimes. Alright, so Alright, this is where we're at. We need to fix this, right? So the idea is, I just got a little noise in my headphones. Let me see. I just want to see if I got a message from work. Okay, I don't think so. I think it was just Twitter. Okay. Michael Creel says first world problems. Yeah, most definitely a first world problem. The more I told you about that, the more I just felt like, dude, like I'm so terrible that I'm even complaining about this. This is not a real issue. Okay. Let me get rid of this thing on the side just to give us some more space. Okay, so here, we need to do then is add our to lowercase higher up. So I guess we can remove it from here. So let me just kind of hit undo a bunch of times. Oops, there we go. Alright, so we're going to get rid of our to lowercase there. Oh, what's up? Alright, is this, it's Julio. Is it Julio or Julio? Let me know. I want to pronounce it right. Server set case-sensitive routing true or case-sensitive routing false. Awesome. Okay, so app.set case-sensitive routing false. So cool. So you're saying I can just do should I do the app.set or server? Right now I think Probably server. If that's for Express, I'm calling Express a server. So let's try it this way first. Or oops, server.set case. Whoops. False. See if that does it. All right. Reuven says, "Looks like you have a scar on your face. Did you slay a dragon?" Yeah, I don't know if you could see. I have like right there is a scar. No, unfortunately, I didn't do anything quite as cool as that. Although, I mean, if the dragon was pretty chill, I don't know if I really want to slay it. But my daughter Cordelia, who's 1, thinks it's hilarious to just like slap you and scratch people, right? So that's what she did. So she was just being so sweet, sitting on my lap, and all of a sudden she's just like bam, and got me like all down here, and then she just smiled and laughed, because I guess that makes sense to a 1-year-old. Actually, you know what? Here's what I'm thinking, though. The case-sensitive routing still might not solve our issue. Like, I mean, assuming I did this right and didn't mess something up, I still don't think it'll solve our issue, because the problem isn't really with the router. The problem is in how we're calling this object and trying to look up and match things. So what we really need to do is make sure that whatever gets passed into this object is lowercase. So I don't know that this would switch everything to lowercase or not. If it is, and I'm mistaken, please let me know. But otherwise, I think we ought to manually set. Yeah, we need to manually set this. Alright, I'm going to try something that right now to me seems really silly, like there's no way it would work, but we'll see. So let's go type equals Alright, let's try it out. It did work. Wow. Okay. I can't believe, sometimes stuff that's just like, oh, there's no way this will work. This just seems too easy. Here's the thing. I want to make sure that this will still work. So I guess we're always going to have a type, though, aren't we? Yeah. Yeah, we'll always have a type. Should we do the same thing with ID? I guess. But maybe we should say, let's make this conditional. So whoops, no. So if this exists, then we're going to make it this. Otherwise, it's going to be null. And we'll do the same thing here. Okay, does this make sense? So I want to check first because I'm not sure if I would get an error on this, but if I try to do two lowercase on something that doesn't exist, I'm assuming that it's not going to let me do that. Oops. What's going on here? It doesn't like it without it. It needs a space there. Okay. And then I can take this and copy it down into our other one down here. And yeah, so that would work. All right, Nikki says that definitely will cause errors. So it's good to have the check. Michael said that second one. So I did catch that one in the second one. So I had type here and I shouldn't have. All right, Nikki says type is required, so the check should pass, always pass in that case. That's what I thought, that it wouldn't even come through here unless there was a type. But I'll leave it in there now. Let's see. I don't think you need that before equals and null. What if it's, so we have some questions here. So Zama says, what if it's not a string? I don't know. I mean, it should be a string. So it's coming through the URL. I mean, can we put anything in a URL? I mean, yeah, technically I could just put numbers in, but wouldn't it still come through as a string if it's in a URL? I don't know. I mean, I was just assuming that anything coming through a URL would be a string. And Duxashi, not sure how to pronounce that. Let me know how you'd like it pronounced. Says, I think you don't need that before equals and null. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. I don't know why I'm not understanding. Maybe I'm just missing something. So if you could clarify a little bit, I'd appreciate it. Okay, so I'm not sure about this, whether or not this is doing anything for now. Should we, I don't know if we should leave it or just get rid of it. Let me think if there's a case. If all our routing is coming through, yeah, I think we'll probably be fine without it. But we can put it back in if we need to later on. I wonder what the default is for Express. If the default is case sensitive or not case sensitive. Okay, so here we are, and I'd like to check out a page that uses both type and ID just to make sure we haven't broken anything. So let's go to our student profile. So this should use student profiles. Yep, this still works. Okay, cool. All right, since we have that, I did say I'd scroll through this quickly so y'all could see what we have. So some changes that you may have seen, depending on when the last stream you watched was. We've gotten rid of all the social media icons up top and our button up here. It's a lot more clean. We have just 4 menu items and our search. We've gone to a larger version of the logo that actually says the word Franciscan instead of just FUS. We're still using the FUS in this menu and on mobile. We've changed up some of the names of the menu items, so not really a big deal, but some of them are changed. We've added in, this XSFUS was up here in the button, and now it's here. I think we've added in a few other things and changed the name of some things. And then on here, I did change the buttons. So the buttons are now, this is, I call them inverted buttons. I'm not exactly sure where I got that from. I probably got it from somewhere. I'm not claiming I made that term up, but I've been using it for so long that I can't remember where I got it from. So anyway, these are nice because they show more of the background, which is kind of cool. I think I'd still like to mess with the fonts and things. Probably needs a bigger font. We've added in a little section to explain a bit more about the university. I've added in this kind of banner section as well. And then I've just taken some of these student profile cards, and instead of using them just for student profiles, we've used them for other types of information. And that's about it. And everything on mobile, of course, is still, you know, very much the same. I think it actually looks nicer on a phone than on a desktop at this point, which is, I mean, that's how we've been designing it. Okay, let me see. All right, cool. We've got about 9 minutes left here. All right, so I believe I was showing, yeah, I was showing this page, and then it didn't work because we had gone to, yeah, so I was showing the majors page and then clicking the links in majors, and realized that that didn't work if the URL was capitalized. So that's how we got to here. But I'm actually really glad that we found that bug. Better to find it now than, you know, for someone else to find it in one of my presentations. It wouldn't have been the end of the world. You know, I definitely let people know it's still a work in progress, but still, it's good to make the mistake live here in front of all of you on YouTube than to make the mistake in front of 12 people in a conference room on campus, right? I'm not sure that that's actually better one way or the other. All right. Well, actually, I just got some feedback on this, so let's go over this feedback while we're here, and that way you all can contribute here. Let's see. Oh, Michael did say, even though you already did the interview, I'm still going to work on the seating manager. I've almost got the loop for requested seats, but I'm missing something. Okay, cool. Michael, that's awesome. I actually, for the React version of it, I opened up a bunch of issues for stuff that I'd like to do that I didn't have time to do. So, I don't know. I keep going back and forth on whether I should keep working on it, because I'm trying to think of some, like, useful thing. Like, if it could fulfill a purpose that, you know, people need this, then I think it'd be cool to, you know, finish it and make it available to people. Let's see, Michael Creel. Anyway, Michael was referring to the project that I had to turn in before my interview. So if you want to check that out, check out my GitHub account, and it's Seating Manager. So I have Node Seating Manager, which is the command line version of it, and then I have React Seating Manager, which is the web app version. So you can check those out and, you know, just do whatever you want with them. They're definitely available for you to take the code or contribute or do whatever you want. They're just kind of fun projects now. So Michael says, I didn't notice evangelization. I'm starting to like faith in life better. Yeah, this was... I usually don't have much of a say in decisions like this. My only thing is please keep them short because it's easier to work with shorter menu items. So, yeah, I don't know if it's going to stay evangelization or not. I kind of hope it isn't. I did ask in the meeting where this was decided, I said, you know, is there another word that's shorter than this that we could use? So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just not sure. I to be honest with you, I think a lot of rethinking of what's actually in these menus needs to happen, and I'm not really the person that's going to be doing that. It's going to be my boss, most likely. So I kind of hope that happens, but right now I can't really do much about it. And Niki says maybe make the apply button not see-through and the other two inverted, the button hierarchy, primary versus secondary. Okay, that's interesting. So we could have apply. So it would kind of look like this. So apply would, I'm going to have to think about that and look at that. What do you all think? Does it look like too out of place to have two different button styles right next to each other? Or does that make sense? And it definitely makes apply stand out compared to the other ones. Yeah, I'm not sure about it. It definitely, if the goal is to make apply stand out, it definitely achieves that goal. I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I kind of like it. All right, I'm gonna have to think more about that. Okay, cool. Well, let's go. Oh, all right. Got about 4 more minutes. Sean's saying maybe the logo colors for the button colors. Yeah, we did have, the buttons were colored. They weren't the logo colors. So they were this yellow color that's also in our color palette. So I mean, we definitely could go with colors. This is the kind of thing that I actually think this would be great for A/B testing. So once we do launch, try out different variations of these buttons and see which one gets the best response, like the most clicks. I think I'd like to do that. So whatever we end up going with for presentations and for launch is, I guess it won't matter that much, because I think it would be worthwhile to test out different variations on our audience. So it looks like don't make them transparent, maybe a light green background. Yeah, maybe we can mess with different colors. I gotta be careful here though, because now that we're talking about different colors and transparencies and things, I could spend a lot of time on this. All right, so I'm gonna make a decision here and just say I like these ideas, but I think these are good ideas to implement after we launch and to test them. So that way we'll have data. If somebody comes back, like somebody I work with comes back and says, what do you do to the buttons? They look terrible. I can at least say we're testing them, and based on this data, these buttons give us the best response. I think that'll be easier in terms of, like, right now trying to explain why we do buttons one color or the other is just going to be pretty much based on, well, I think this looks good. And that's really kind of a hard argument to win against other people. But if we have data to back it up, then you can't really argue against that. If I say, hey, we're getting twice the amount of clicks on these buttons, then you probably can, even if someone thinks the button's ugly, if we're getting more clicks, we're getting more clicks. Let's see. Michael said, no, don't do that. Looking on mobile, change the border color and font colors. Let's see. Yeah, actually, let's check this out on mobile too. Mobile, I think, is where you really get the benefit of these buttons, because the buttons cover up way more of the image on mobile. So an inverted button actually is nicer, or a button with a transparent background. Rohan says the one filled in is more readable. Yeah, it definitely is more readable. I am going to increase the font size. I wanted to increase the font size before, but when I did, it threw these out of alignment, and I had a hard time getting them aligned, and so I just quit messing with it because I had to go to a presentation, and I never got back to it. Let's see. Sean says, or the Harmony says, the font color blends in with the lab coat. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It does blend in with the lab coat. I did put, I kind of darkened this image a bit to try to, combat that, but you're right. It's not really. I mean, this image will likely not always be the image in the background, so I shouldn't worry too much about it, but yeah, we do want people to be able to read it. Now, on a phone, it's harder to tell, but like on a desktop, you hover over it and then it's readable, so it's not as much of an issue on a desktop, but you don't have that same hover effect. I wonder if I guess you can click, but at that point it's like, why would you click if you can't even read it? Sean says, yeah, true. My final thought was maybe a white apply button and the bottom button's green, and then on hover, invert. Okay. Well, it seems like we have way more options than I even thought of. So, yeah, so I think I'm just going to make sure that I save your comments, and then that way I can refer back to them whenever we start doing our testing. Michael says, didn't we do this last week? We were coming up with a bunch of redesign ideas an hour before presentation. Yep, yeah, that's true. I remember that now. Yeah. Some of it was really helpful though, and I did actually say in the meeting, like, oh yeah, the people on YouTube told me to do this. So I didn't take credit for it. The head of my department actually really liked how clean this looked, and I know it was you all that suggested taking out all of those social media icons. So during the meeting, I took them out during the meeting, and everybody really liked it. Okay, so my timer is up, and let me commit this. Git add, so we're going to add, and then I'm going to do yarn cm, right? And that's going to give us, let's make this a bit bigger. I don't know if I want to say bug fix. Let's do new, whoops, did I? Yeah, feature, so let's say, and routes with 3 parameters. All right, that's good. Oh, okay. All right, cool. So I want to make sure that that gets up so that you all can check out what we've just done. And you know what? I tell you the truth. I see that Michael says it was a bug fix, the lowercase. I didn't remember about the lowercase thing until after I started typing the message. So you are right. That would have been better categorized as either just completely a bug fix or part of it not and part of it. But since it was all in the same file, we couldn't really check it out. Oh yeah, Nikki says in the static check in the route. Wow. I probably should have split everything that we did up into 3 commits, because we did do 3 like very different things, even though it was all based in routing. So that would have made it much easier to categorize it and pick a good commit message. So we'll have to remember to do that next time, to maybe do smaller chunks. Git push origin. Alright, so now everything is available in the repository. The link is in the description, so you all can check that out if you want. You can contribute if you want, comment on what we did, or you can take the code and use it in your own project if you like. It's all, you know, open source, freely available to use. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to go through and answer all the remaining questions. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat right now. Let's see. Okay, and I'm good to go. I have, in about 50 minutes, I have a meeting. So I don't think there's enough questions that it'll take up 50 more minutes. But just to let you all know, definitely can't go longer than 50 minutes. Alright, so I'm going to scroll up a bit and keep going where we left off the last time. Alexi says, this is still the Franciscan site, looks almost done. Yeah, it is still the Franciscan site. And it looks pretty good at this point. The thing that, so the big things that aren't done right now are all the data is not migrated over, and then even the stuff that is migrated over isn't linked up properly so that you can actually get to it from the website. So I'm going to be focusing most of my time when I'm not streaming on moving data over and getting that router full of all the routes that we need. Also, Harshit set up for us a file. I really want to show this to you all, and because it's kind of an important thing we have now that will let our client-side routing work. So where's my data? Is it in here? I thought it was in there. Let me shut some of these. Drawer menu. All right, here it is. So we have this as URL now. So not only do we have a link URL, but we're also kind of manually passing in some of these things that go into the router. So you could see like the type. So we have the page, what it's going to. So basically, like, what template component do we want to render this data? So in this case, we want the page component. The type, meaning the GraphQL type that we're requesting, is academics pages, and then the ID is majors, right? So that's how we get client-side routing to work. Otherwise, I think we were still getting a page refresh when we were clicking. That's not what we want. So we should be able to get server-side rendered pages on the first load, but then after that, we shouldn't have another page refresh. So in order to make that happen, we now have this extra thing. So in any of our links, we need to add this. So for now, like, we're pulling in data, but if we were to manually add a link somewhere, like hard-code it in, we'd have to add this, this kind of extra information in. So that was pretty good work. I didn't even notice what was happening. Harshit noticed. I believe it was Harshit that noticed it and came up with the fix for that. So that was pretty awesome. I assume Harshit is sleeping right now. He should be, because it's pretty late in the Himalayas right now. But anyway, Harshit, if you end up seeing this at some point, thank you for that. But as you can see, I don't have it all filled out, so I'm gonna have to do that as well. Rufat says URL endpoints aren't dynamic. I'm not 100% sure what you're asking. So let me answer what I think you're asking. Please let me know if it's not a good answer to your question. But the URL endpoints, so essentially some of them are and some of them aren't, right? So like these are going to have to be, like there's going to be some like this where, you know, we're actually hard coding in these routes. But then there's also going to be some more like, let's see, so like HR, these human resource pages, we have a bunch of pages that are going to be HR / and then something. And that's where the ID comes into play. So as long as we have content that matches up with that ID in our WordPress database, it can render out thousands of pages that would be like /HR / you know, whatever you want at the end. So it's kind of a mix of some hard-coded routes and some routes that are, I've been calling them parameterized. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And I think I mentioned earlier, the reason for that is because we have to keep URLs the same as we've had them before. So if we were able to just build the site from scratch and have our own URL structure, we wouldn't need all of this stuff. Unfortunately, we do have to keep the URL structure, so we're going to have kind of a big, messy object here and a lot of stuff down here as well. But the result is going to be well worth it, right? We don't want to lose out and have broken links and lose out on SEO and all that. So, I mean, that takes years and years to build up. So if we have to spend a few extra hours keeping that, it's definitely worth it. Netscope says, I know this is web development, but do you have any ideas for a C# project I could do? I'm almost one semester ahead of my class and completed my extra projects. I got 2. Wow. I'd say the truth, I don't know. I don't have ideas for anything that would be like C#, like specifically good for C#. What do you all think? What's a good C# related project? I mean, I just kind of know, like, there are always basic ones that people do, like do a to-do list or a calculator, or, you know, but those are all kind of boring and really basic. Reuven asks, do you work out a lot? I've been working out every day for like 5 or 6 weeks now. I kind of lost count, but pretty much every day. One day I just kind of did some stretching because I didn't really have a lot of time. But other than that, I've been working out every day. This morning, I did not work out. I was tired, and my 3-year-old just wanted to cuddle, so I just cuddled with him. And but I do plan on working out when I get home to keep my streak going. So I've been working out. I make sure I do a little bit of cardio, like at least a half an hour. And then I have been doing some weights and things like that. So this is all kind of new for me, though. Before that, it was very much like I worked out sporadically. You know, I'd do a couple days here and there, and then I might go like 2 weeks without doing anything. So I'm trying really hard to do that, mostly for my mental health, really. I mean, it's nice to, you know, be a little bit stronger, but it's it helps me with depression. To get that workout in. So in addition to medication and counseling, you know, the workout's a big thing as well. So I've been trying to keep my sleep schedule, you know, on target, eating a little bit more regularly and better, and then also with the exercise. So far it's pretty good. To tell you the truth, lately it's like, I don't know, I've been a little bit more down than usual lately. I'm not sure why, but for the most part, over the last month or so, I've felt really good. Okay, we had some questions about. There was a question a long time ago about React and putting it in a regular HTML project. So we'll have some follow-up to that. So where do you put React other than a script tag, that is? Don't you just source react.js? I think it depends. It depends on how you're bringing in React. So, like on a project like this, we're bringing in React here. We're importing it right into the components. But we've used Create React App. On a regular HTML project, I suppose you could use the CDN, like as was mentioned in the live chat as well. So I suppose you would just use the script tag and link to the CDN. That would be the easiest way to do it. BJ says hello all the way from Nepal. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Michael says, by the way, don't use that camera angle for the recap again. The gray hairs in your beard really stand out. Yeah, so he's referring to the video that I just put on my YouTube channel. That was the interview recap. So yeah, that was the first time I tried to do a video with my phone. So my phone camera is, even the front-facing camera is much better resolution than the one on my iMac, so I decided to just do that. So I literally just took I have like a standing desk thing where my keyboard can go up, so I put it up to like right here, and then I put my phone here, and so that was the angle that I ended up getting. So it wasn't ideal. I just was like, hey, I would rather have like a 1080p quality video. So, I mean, when I record with OBS, I can scale up to 1080p, but it doesn't look like 1080p because the camera can't capture that. So, anyway, I will take that into consideration. And yeah, my beard is getting some gray hairs in it. I look a lot younger, I think, when I shave my beard. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it does have something to do with gray hairs, of course, but yeah, I have like maybe a few gray hairs like down here in my beard, and my wife thinks it's funny. Suhaib, Suhayb, not sure how to pronounce that. Very sorry if I messed it up. Let me know how you'd like me to pronounce it. But anyway, they say, I am 13 and I'm watching these videos. Awesome. That's really awesome. If you're already taking coding that seriously, that you're watching YouTube videos on it, and especially these videos, because I know my videos can drag on a bit and be a little bit difficult to watch. But just they're long, and sometimes it can be boring, especially if we're working on stuff and it's just not working. So anyway, I think it's awesome that you're watching these videos and learning about coding. So feel free to ask any questions. I'll do my best to answer, and keep at it. Nikki says, I know what I'm going to be focused on while watching that video now. Yeah, so everybody go and check out the gray hair in my beard, and it'll get me more views, so it's fine. If I got to use my gray beard hair to get views, then so be it. I'm scrolling down to find more questions. I'm scrolling through all the discussion about the button colors. Kamal says, which Visual Studio Code theme are you using? The theme is called Seti, so S-E-T-I. It's the Seti theme. So it's the same theme that I used when I'm coding in Atom. So I've been using this theme for years. It was one of the first themes I tried out. I really liked it, and so I've never switched. Oh, I see that Nikki already gave the answer. Thanks for that, Nikki. Jonas says, you got any experience deploying to Azure? It doesn't work for me with Node.js apps. I've never tried to deploy a Node.js app to Azure, so I have deployed something. No, you know what? I did deploy Node, but it was part of like a workshop. So I took like steps that were already plotted out for me to do it. So I've never tried on my own, but it's possible. I know we did it. But like I said, my only experience with it was in a workshop. So I'd have to go back and look through all the steps again, and that may or may not work in every use case. But it's possible. Sorry, I don't have enough experience that I could give you more, advice on that. Chukwu, so C-H-U-K-W-U. Let me know if that's not how you pronounce it. Chukwu says, "Do you know a school available for me?" I don't know. It depends. It depends on where you're at, how much you have, time and money you have to be able to dedicate to the school. There are some good online, tutorials and programs available that you could do from anywhere as long as you have an internet connection. freeCodeCamp is free. You could go through and do that. It's not exactly a school. Udacity has some great nano degree courses. My wife is just finishing up with, she actually just finished this weekend Flatiron School, and she really liked it. So I guess there's some of my options. If you're looking more at a formal school, like a university or something like that, then that probably depends a lot more on location and how much money you have. And what you want to do with it as well. Let's see. Einbishen says, "How is the React part being sent and used?" You know what? I'm not sure what I was talking about when you asked that question. So, Ambition, if you could clarify a little bit, I'd be happy to answer it for you. Joey says, "I have an idea for the hero div. Feel free to ignore if you're out of time. Background color with background blend mode, soft, light." Let me see. Let me see if I can try that out. Let me see where I have that. Hero components. There's my components. There we go. All right. Let's see. All right, there we go. So let's see. You know what? I may have to... I don't know if this will work like this, Joey. So, just in DevTools, much more readable. Okay, so Joey just did it in DevTools. So, Joey, was that for the entire hero div or just for the buttons? Okay, it works with the background image. All right, let's check this out then. So, yeah, let me try it in DevTools as well. That would be much easier. That definitely is more readable. What do you all think about that? Ali says, I'm 23 and watching from Turkey. Lots of thanks for Free Code Camp. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for saying it. Thanks for watching. Michael says, the stuff that doesn't work is the best part of your videos. We all get to yell out solutions. Cool. Michael says, I'm out. I got to figure out the loop issue and then work on my Simon game that I haven't worked on for 3 months to get the front end cert. All right, well, good luck with that, Michael. John says, are you ready to learn WebAssembly coming to a React environment before one can say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? Yeah, I need to learn some WebAssembly stuff. I keep hearing so much about it all the time. Oliver says, I would give the apply button more top space. Yeah, it does. It could definitely use a little bit more space. It doesn't look as bad on mobile, though. But you're right. I think it definitely could use... I think this whole thing could use some redoing of space and font sizes. I think it's just a little out of balance. Nikki says, good idea in that UI details Twitter thread as well. Desaturated photo plus bold color plus blend mode multiply. Great for hero banners and creating high contrast for text. Joey says, the image gets slightly brighter if you take the gradient out too. Okay, cool. John says, I don't think CSS image blend mode works across a lot of browsers at this point. Oh, we could check it out with browser testing as well. So I'm going to keep this in mind. Actually, I want to kind of like go. Yeah, it's so much more. The text stands out so much. Yeah, I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna show this maybe to my boss and see what he thinks. This is the type of change that I can't just make. I think I'm definitely gonna, because enough people have seen this hero image and stuff and really liked it, so I can't really just slide this change in here. But I really like what it's done for the readability here. And John, yeah, we're gonna have to do some browser testing at some point. Maybe we could have like a nice fallback as well. Ambition says, what I meant before about React was if all your React components were being sent in the public folder. Do I have this ready? I don't think I have this compiled or anything. Oh yeah, I do have a public folder. No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what all ends up being in the public folder once we build it, to be honest with you. Joey says it could be done in GIMP or Photoshop to avoid compatibility issues. Yeah, you're right. I'd rather not. I'd rather do it in the code if possible, because that way, if we have people who don't know how to use Photoshop or GIMP, try to upload an image, because eventually I think this image, you'll be able to change the image just by uploading a new image somewhere. So maybe WordPress, maybe somewhere else, and the image would change. I think it'd be better if we kind of automatically get this effect. But we'll have to test it out. And like I said, first I need to see if this is acceptable and we can even do this. And then we can worry about, you know, browser compatibility and things like that. But I have a meeting in like a half an hour, and my boss will be in the meeting, so maybe I'll just bring my laptop and show him then. All right. Well, I've gotten to the bottom of the live chat, so I think now's a great time to end this stream. It gave me just a few minutes to relax before my meeting and get everything ready. It was really cool talking with you all again. I missed you all. I miss streaming, and we actually worked out a lot of stuff. So I'm really happy with what we've accomplished as far as getting the router working, and got a lot of feedback on this area of the UI as well, which is always welcome, because this is the first thing people see. You know, this could determine whether or not they stay on the site, whether they click, they scroll down. You know, so I've said before, I think spending the most time on this area and on this page is definitely worth it. All right. So I think I'll be back tomorrow. I haven't checked my calendar for tomorrow yet. So I figure, though, I should be able to get in at least an hour of streaming. I'll let everybody know on if you follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, or if you follow this YouTube channel, you should get updates at some point. I've been updating on all those places. The notification on YouTube will come up automatically if you turn on notifications for this channel, so that you'll know whenever I'm going to stream. And thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.